Hello, welcome back.
It's Miracle Mom and Michael.
And if you watched the previous video posted today, that was Mom reading Exodus chapter 7 about Moses finally getting the nerve to go take his brother with him, right? To go talk to Pharaoh.
Right?
So what happened? Like Moses is out tending sheep or something, and this voice starts talking to him, or this bush starts burning, but not burning, and a voice starts talking to him through it and says, "Go talk to Pharaoh." Right? That's the story.
Right.
And Moses is like, "What? Me? Pharaoh doesn't like me.
Yeah.
Pharaoh does not like me. Would have they were probably going to kill me if I stuck around there, and now you want me to go back there?" And
Well, Moses even doubted his own speech, literally, his own,
yeah,
you know,
he probably
ability to speak.
probably stammered a little bit, or he was like,
Right?
I've never done any public speaking. I've never gotten up in front of people. Why me?" Right? He might even had a stutter,
Yeah.
And
Right.
God's like, "Take your brother. He'll speak for you." It's like, come on, Moses. That is a
Do
lame.
what I say.
He's like, "Oh, that's a lame excuse." Go,
Yeah.
duh. So, um, and then, I mean, just thinking about this as something that actually happened, right?
Yeah.
Some people hear that and it's like, oh, one of those nice made up stories in that old book. But no, it's like the history of how God, blessed his people. This was the beginning of Israel being super rich, right?
Right.
So it's the story of the 10 plagues to get them out of there. It's like it's a separating of the wheat and the tares, like we've talked about. Like there's a time coming
Hmm.
when the bad will be winnowed out from the good, and this was that kind of. This is like a picture of that. This is a literal. We are going to pull all of these Israelites, this ethnic population, out of this land, and somebody else is going to stay behind. And so this was God forcing Pharaoh to face reality.
I mean, it took him 10 plagues.
And he never really faced reality. He was so, and that's the thing I think about. Okay, this kind of incredible power right in front of you, like this. He had sorcerers that were doing pretty insane stuff too, but they couldn't match up to the things that God told Pharaoh to say. I mean, God told Moses to say. Like the things that God told Moses to say. He's like, all right, tell him you're gonna turn all the water to blood. It's like, what? Okay. Then I have to follow up with that. I like, okay, I'm gonna tell him that, and then I have to go execute. I have to like, it's going to happen.
Right.
Pharaoh's like, psh, snakes are snakes. I don't believe you. And then it happens. And
Yeah.
so, but I'm having these things documented in writing. I always come back to this. Those things were documented in writing. As we talk about on this show, it's a theme. Miracles are happening constantly. But in that time and period, there weren't a lot of people that were writers. they didn't have
Yeah.
they didn't have
Right.
smartphones with cameras on them. Check this out. Moses said he's going to turn the ocean to blood, and it goes over. Oh wait, he did it. Oh my, they just had the experience they were in, and then write this down. Remember, write this down. Whoever can write this down. And it was Moses. It's like the educated
You
one.
know what my question in all this is?
What?
God told Moses before he gave me the instructions. Why did God harden Pharaoh's heart?
That's always the question. That's the like the controversy. Why would God harden Pharaoh's heart? And you have to put yourself in Pharaoh's position. I think about this in comparison and contrast to the power players of today. So these were the power players. This was the guy who was in charge of the world, Pharaoh, and all of the politicians. Like they had a republic or something, right? This wasn't just one. This is a bunch of. It's an upper class. It's an elite class of rulers and leaders, and Pharaoh's the main guy. And today, people are in positions of power and doing evil, and they're surrounded by a lot of other people in positions of power doing evil, and that's what puts their minds at ease. It's like, oh, I'm not alone. We're all doing this awful, awful thing. But how that's easy to keep your heart hardened when you're surrounded by other people like you that are agreeing with you and supporting you and saying, "Yeah, Pharaoh, you tell him." And so it's a decision he has to make. It's like, uh, if this thing happens, our whole economy changes. Like if this thing happens and all of our slaves go away, our culture changes so dramatically, and we're so incompetent as politicians. How are we going to rescue ourselves? There's all these real arguments that you could put forward to why Pharaoh was just resisting the inevitable. Saying God hardened his heart. He just didn't want his life to change, right?
Yeah,
He
right.
didn't want the way things had always been to ever change. Can you blame the guy?
Well, no.
Maybe he gets a bad rap, but the guy, that's where your villains are become likable and real. Like not likable, but they you have to humanize them because they are just humans that are caught up in some kind of lie, like
Yeah,
believing lies, and people get hurt by lies. And here Moses is like, all right, let's get my people out of here so these lies don't continue. We've outgrown this place. It's time to go. God decided, let's go. And the Israelites walk out of there loaded to bear, loaded for bear. Like they had literally gold valuables from all of the people around them. Like it says that the Egyptians let them take all of this wealth with them.
yeah.
And so here they are in the desert, and they're like, well, what are we going to eat? We got all this cool stuff we took with us. What are we going to eat? Can you imagine?
Right.
So they're sitting in this camp and they got all this treasure around them that can't buy them a sandwich.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just want to reflect a little bit on what you know.
I wonder if there was significance to the number of plagues. 10.
Well,
Why
yeah,
not 8? Why not 12? Why not 70?
that's a good question. Those are theological questions that I mean. There's always a reason, and each of
Yeah,
the
I know,
plagues,
but
even the specificity of the plagues, there's meaning. Like frogs, like I think there was a god that was a frog in Egypt. Like they worshipped a frog, and then God's like,
yeah,
"You worship that frog. Watch what I can do with frogs." And there's all
yeah,
these,
right.
and so there's different associations to basically to disarm the gods of the Egyptians, basically. And so there's meaning behind it all. I think the number 10, may have had some significance. I don't know all the
Yeah.
details on that.
Just, they ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, this was kind of
But
a
when you start asking questions, it prompts you to search more and seek more and takes you further.
that's
Well, it
the
takes me further.
that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to seek and search and
Yeah.
try and grow. I mean, I had an epiphany the other day, and I'll wrap this up on this, but kind of an epiphany the other day. Before I share this epiphany, if you've lasted this long through this segment of reflection on Exodus chapter 7, um, what is the prime, when are humans fulfilling their characteristic purpose? When is a human being fulfilling its characteristic function? If you think about life,
Oh, I know the answer to that.
well, hold on. If you think about everything that's created, you know, whether it's a pair of scissors, a pair of glasses, or a pair of, I'm just looking around me, a lamp, a microphone, anything that's created is created for a reason. It has a characteristic function. All the planning that went into that thing being designed was so that that thing could function. It could do what it was meant to do. And so humans being designed, right, being created and engineered, blueprinted and brought into existence, have a characteristic function. What were you going to say?
Oh, well, the answer to that is any human being that God has created, their characteristic function from God's perspective is to fulfill his plan for your life.
Yes,
right?
I agree. I agree 100%. And that, I mean, you have something that you were designed for, and that's a paraphrase of what of really the question, right? When you say God has a plan for your life, you're saying you have a characteristic function. So it's not an answer.
Doing the will of God. Doing the will of God.
Yes, that is the Sunday school answer. When was the last time you were in Sunday school, Mom?
Me, I'm in Sunday school every day.
Oh, that's not fair. That's a good answer, but
really, in a Sunday school?
Yes.
Probably the last time would have been, I can be wrong, but it would have been a church in Lemon Grove, California.
Wow.
1975.
So you had the Sunday school answer from all the way back to 1975.
An actual Sunday school class.
I know. No, that's a good answer. That's the right answer. But I don't want to. I want to wrap this clip up, and I want to say what I was going to say. Humans have some capacities that no other organisms have, right? And that's how you can.
Of course.
That's how you can tell what something was meant for. It's what its function, what its purpose is. And so you could say to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Those are supposed to point us in the right direction. That's how you get to your characteristic function. Love is a part of what you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be. But what is it about you that differentiates you, even as an individual? Without having to bring another person into the picture, because love involves more than one. You can't love without another person. So what you individually, you're supposed to love, but what do you have that's unique? And what is it? It's knowledge, right? It's you are able to know that you are able to know that you exist, that you are able, you can't think of a dog as knowing necessarily anything. It responds to your, it knows it's hungry because it has this instinct and it responds, but it doesn't possess knowledge. A dog doesn't possess knowledge. And when you possess knowledge, you know something. And so, I know there was something else I was going to say, and I hate to leave everybody hanging like that, but our characteristic function is to grow in knowledge. What does that mean? When you learn the truth keeps unfolding. So by pursuing truth, you are pursuing the characteristic function of the human. That's it. There's the payoff if anybody lasted to the end of this video. Pursuing truth, when you pursue truth, when you pursue growing in knowledge, is where this tangent came from. When you pursue that, you are actually being more human than ever. Like that's when you are the most human, by pursuing knowledge and truth. So not just being entertained. We all like entertainment, but when you pursue to know the truth, you are actually living. You are actually existing as you were meant to.
Yes.
Period. All right, Mom, I want you now to turn to 1 Corinthians. I got a slate right here.